Well, good morning. Welcome. Sorry there aren't enough chairs. Thank you very much for taking the time to come to this very important announcement. Because today we're going to talk about how the McGuinty government is reducing barriers, improving opportunities through our 3-to-1 investment plan. We assumed government and we immediately froze tuition after years of very substantial increases. Froze it for 2 years. Froze it so that we could assess the needs of the system, and we asked former Premier Ray to conduct that assessment. And we got Bob Ray's assessment, a very important review, and the Premier responded to the call for action. So that brings us to the reason that many of you might have come here today, to hear about the tuition framework. So how does it work? Well, after the institution signs the student access guarantee, it will have the ability to change its fees within the cap. The government doesn't set the fee, the institution will set the fee, and it'll be up to each institution to do that. For most, looking at universities first, for most university programs, undergraduate, first year can go up by a maximum of 4.5%. Second and subsequent years by a maximum of 4%. For the higher cost programs, the graduate, the professional programs, first year can go up by a maximum of 8%. Second and subsequent years, will go up by 8%. Thank you very much.
The federal's invested $1.6 billion. What are you putting in?
Increased the amount of assistance available and updated the various costs.
Any increased assistance
all signals are you're in better shape
for
the budget overall. If you're in better shape for the budget overall, why not continue with the freeze so students don't have to pay more?
If he thinks that modest funding announcement is enough to justify Mike Harris-like tuition fee increases, then I'm sure that the Ontario public is going to have something to say in the next provincial election.
Why such a big fuss over just $100 or $200 a year?
We're talking about the kinds of tuition fee increases that we haven't seen since Mike Harris. This is between 4% and 8% per year. We're talking about, at the end of a 4-year degree, seeing tuition fee increases between 20 and 40% on those tuitions. That is a massive amount of money, and that is not going to do enough to increase the quality of the education here. That is going to merely put students into deeper debts, put their parents into deeper debt, and it's going to really marginalize the people who can actually get into the system.
How does that make any sense to the majority of Ontarians? It doesn't.
So ideally, though, you wanted the cap to stand, or the freeze to stand.
Yes, because that is what's going to improve access to students, right? Because they've not only increased the regular programs, they've increased the fees to deregulated programs.
Do I feel that all students can afford it? Absolutely not. But with the financial aid package, I believe what you heard today, that there's a commitment that no student will be denied access for financial means. How do I know the details? I don't know the details. I haven't seen them.
Can I get your name?
Sheldon Levy, President, Ryerson University.
We want the freeze! We want the freeze! We want the freeze right now! We want the freeze! We want the freeze! We want the freeze right now! The Beamer's gotta go! Hey, hey! Hey, hey! Oh, ho! Oh, ho! The Beamer's gotta go! Hey, hey! Oh, ho! Now! What do we want? We used to be! What do we want? Now! What do we want it? And when do we want it? Now! What do we want? Reduce the fees! When do we want it? Now! And we want access for each other. I want to congratulate every single one of you for coming out today on such short notice. We got a tough fight ahead of us, but if we stand together and we make public funding of post-secondary education our issue, we can win on equality and we can stop the tuition fee hikes before they start. Thank you all for coming out.
When I look up at the sky today, I see the weather that we had this morning. When I listen to what the government officials are saying yesterday, it's clear that we have a lot of things conspiring against us. But we're standing strong, we're standing to our principles, and we're always saying the things that need to be said. Tuition fees are already way too high, and we cannot expect to pay any more.